Hey Chevon, I thought it might be easier if I just made a video. So here is your file, which is fine. And so here is your first item that you're going to read. And this can go into a regular variable. It shouldn't go into an array because you only have one. And there's no chance of it being repeated, right? So since there's only one, put it just into a traditional variable. Now here's where the repetition occurs, right? So these are all the same. They're all prices. And they're all prices related to this one item. So put them in an array. So you're doing that, and that is correct. Read these over and over and over again until you reach the end of file. So where the repetition is, right, this is a one-time thing, the ISBN. And when you read the ISBN with a traditional input statement, not a get line, right, just like a CN, it will read until it reaches the enter key or a space. So here it's reaching the enter key, okay, and it skips the enter key, and then it goes here, right where my cursor is flashing, and it sits there and it waits for the next input statement. Okay, so if you read just this one single item into a variable, that's what's going to happen. It's going to, we call it the read pointer where my cursor is flashing. And that's just going to sit there and wait. Now in your code, if you come along and you say, you know what, I'm repeating all of these things over and over again. So I'm going to put that in a loop, and I'm going to loop until end of file. And that's going to go into your cost array. That's where the repetition is. Right? Because that's what you're doing over and over, is just reading the same thing into the same array. So now if I look over your code, right, file open, that's all good. Then test it, that's all good. I don't think this is a problem for you. Right? This is going to cause you a problem. That should not be there. That should be here in your if statement. So that could have been causing you an issue right there. Well, and you have an else here, so really it should be like this and like this. So just clean those up, because I think the way you had them was probably going to cause you an error. All right, so prices is your index, that's fine, and that's set to 0, that's good. But the problem is that you're going in and you're reading into this ISBN array, and you're going to do that until end of file. So that means that it's going to put all of these into one array. So when you go to sum them to do your average calculation, it's going to add in the string too, and that's going to be a problem. So that's an error. So right here, before you start, this is where I would put a read statement for the ISBN, and don't put it into an array, like I said, just put it into a traditional variable. Now you can come and you can read over and over and over again, not the ISBN, but the cost. All right, so the first time through, this is a 0, then it changes to 1, right, and then it'll stop when it gets to end of file. When you get to the end, this is going to show you total of prices read into the array, right? That's your count. Close the file, that's fine. And then here you're doing your summing. That's good. Right, start at 0, stop at the end. Perfect. This looks good to me too. Yeah. So I think you're on your way. I think that's the biggest problem, is how you were reading the data, because then you couldn't do this part. Then this would be wrong as well. So once you get that fixed, test it out, see how it looks, and then clean up your program. In other words, put in, you know, your comments like file open, and then break it up into functions. So, but first get it working like this. And then deal with all the highest, the lowest, the functions. Deal with all of that later. Just make sure everything that you said was going into the array actually went into the array. And in fact, you might want to, maybe after this, after all of this, maybe, you know, right before the end, maybe throw in a display statement, a cout statement for the ISBN, and then cout loop, do a for loop for the cost array. This way you can see if everything that you think you have is actually there. All right, see if that helps. Like I said, I'm on campus tomorrow, Wednesday. If you want to stop in or you want to set up a Zoom and you can share your screen with me, just let me know.